absolutely loved my time at the school and in the profession, but the whole journey I was constantly aware that there were traditional practices that were counterproductive and actually could be shifted so that the process of exploring your talent and the quality of art would be much richer and much more human. I have been involved, immersed in NBS for all of my adolescence and adult life, except for a 10-year period of time. But in terms of how I first got into dance, it was thanks to my older sister not liking ballet, and my mother had bought a little pair of ballet slippers with food stamps, and I'm one of 3 girls, the middle, and my mother had noticed that there were lessons at the community center in Ottawa where we lived at the time, and the lessons were free, and that was really important within my family's economic circumstances. And my older sister went and hated it, and my mother could only convince her to go 5 times, and then she thought, well, I'll just wrap these shoes up until they fit Mavis, and then my younger sister, and at least they'll be worn about 15 times. So when I was old enough for the shoes to fit, there were still those classes at the community center, and from the first few moments in the class I just knew that I had found my language, that something happened moving to music, and the way that it made me feel wholly alive. And I don't think my parents were the least bit prepared for how I just knew, and my intensity and the passion with which I loved it was hard for them to wrap their head around. Having been through the school, having had to fight so hard to get to the school, and then I think it was the combination of the experience with the National Ballet of Canada, but also the a realization that with the change of artistic directors there, that I needed to move on to another company. So I think it was moving to Holland and being there for 4 years after being 6 years with the National Ballet that really gave me some kind of comparator in a much broader context. And then most of all, I think it was that my career was cut short by an accident, and I had always hoped to dance longer than 10 years, and I think it was the traumatic circumstances that were devastating at the time that led to the kind of soul-searching that you don't do unless you're in a crisis. So I think it was a combination of all of those things. Never ever planned to teach, and certainly had never thought about this job, that it was the accident which left me in a place emotionally where I knew I needed to create a bridge. So that's why I was here in the teacher training program, and the extent to which the staff at the school at the time allowed me just to take my time in considering what teaching meant to me, that was a gift. But even more, I think it was the day that Betty called me to her office, and I thought she was going to talk with me about the fact that I'd been substitute teaching for someone who'd gone on maternity leave, and I thought, well, the teacher must be coming back. And that was the day that she said that the board of directors, and she had talked about the fact that at 65 she needed to retire in 5 years' time. That was what she wanted to do, and did I want to train with her to be her successor? And just something really, really resonated And I said yes immediately. And she said, don't you think you should go home and think about it? And I said, no, I know that I need to try this for a year and then we should review it. But what struck me was that I absolutely loved my time at the school and in the profession, but the whole journey I was constantly aware that there were traditional practices that were counterproductive and actually could be shifted so that the process of exploring your talent and the quality of art would be much richer and much more human in lots of ways, and that wasn't going to lead to mediocrity, that it would up the standards. And I thought this is an opportunity to explore and carve out systemic change. My whole time from childhood through to our years as adult dancers, that we're conscious that there were people struggling, and with your own struggles there weren't yet resources, there weren't yet tools to know how to navigate the turbulence. So I think to have worked with people within the school and then through international forum to take those same ideas and work with international colleagues to influence change has been one of the most rewarding things I could ever imagine having lived. And that if it's never about anyone's ego, if it's truly about the impact of the idea, and if the idea has authenticity and not ego, then it's amazing how within a 2-year cycle you really can shift practices in a genuine way, and then within 5 years people can't imagine how it could have been different. In the 21st century, if we don't take the lead in ensuring that dance is an integral part of everyone's lives in a genuine way, then who's going to do that? And if dance isn't something that is part of the life of public school children, kids in community centers, adults, seniors living with health issues, then I think ballet runs the risk of being marginalized and ultimately becoming a dead language. To have the opportunity to help youth develop the capacity to use their voices responsibly. And that's the other thing I hear a lot from choreographers, collaborators, that it's not a use of voice to undermine, but in fact to reinforce and invigorate artistic vision, but to make sure that the day-to-day process and interactions are satisfying, because day-to-day is not a dress rehearsal. I mean, that's what it is, day by day. And if you can't make it as satisfying and uplifting as possible, that's a shame. Ultimately, as the school evolves, the next iterations are going to just get better and better, and there will be ideas that I would never have been able to think of, and that it's great to have been able to contribute, but it's about the art and what art brings, and ensuring that body, mind, and soul are fully integrated. That's important, not what I, Mavis Staines, have done.